This is a video press release issued by the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who is running for president, going to seek the Democratic nomination after Joe Biden announces that he will not run and challenge Kamala Harris, who we'll talk about in just a few minutes, for the Democratic nomination. Watch gruesome Newsom from California. Check it out.
So today I signed an emergency declaration, a proclamation in preparation of the storms that are already coming in tonight, and of course will be here in force on Sunday and Monday. This tropical storm Hillary. We have 7,500 now personnel dedicated in Southern California, close to 4,000 CHP, 2,000 Caltrans workers, mutual aid, all across the region, making sure that people are safe and making sure people are vigilant. Please listen to emergency personnel, local officials. Take seriously debris flows and floods, flash floods, lightning, possibility of tornadoes. Stay safe, and as always, take advantage of the resource, calalerts.org.
So, a couple things that were funny there. I thought it was hilarious and ironic that in this video he pleads with members or citizens of the state of California, please listen to the emergency warnings. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't be vigilant, like he also said. You should. But at the same time, the guy who completely ignored several of his own emergencies, making the case for other people to pay attention to his new emergency, is hilarious. I also read the emergency declaration, or proclamation as he so calls it. It effectively says all of the California municipal resources, the fire departments, the CHP, Caltrans, all of these municipalities, do your job. That is effectively what the emergency order states. Now, it is weird, and I do think that this is a political strategy that's going to be employed in the future, making preemptive emergencies. Pretty much the entirety of history in the United States has been terrible thing happens, emergency declared. Because it's not an emergency until it happens. However, in this particular instance, Gavin, a couple days before the quote-unquote hurricane hit, he makes it an emergency, which I think is laying the groundwork to have the federal government issue other preemptive emergencies. I don't know if this seems super out of the question, but it's not to me. I can see the federal government, the Biden administration, saying, well, we have to get ahead of the climate emergency, and therefore we're issuing a national emergency to fight climate change. I don't know. I think this is a bigger deal. I haven't seen anybody really talking about it like this, but I think this declaring the emergency before the emergency happens is going to be a trend, especially when Democrats want to get things passed. Now, again, didn't really seem to be any more resources allocated, more personnel allocated. The entirety of the 8-page proclamation of emergency that Gavin signed effectively said, hey, all of the emergency workers, go ahead and do your job. Which, shouldn't need to be said by the governor of the state. The last thing that I thought was hilarious in that,
possibility of tornadoes, stay safe, and as always, take advantage of the resource, calalerts.org.
I know what it's like to be behind the camera and have that kind of one-take shot. I'm giving him some grace here in knowing that there's not a script in front of him, there's no teleprompter in front of the iPhone, it's just him talking and kind of speaking off the cuff. But I did think, despite the fact that it is extemporaneous speech and it's off the cuff, he said something that is just hilarious when you look at the topography of California. Be careful of possible tornadoes. If you're familiar with the terrain of California, and Southern California specifically, there is zero possibility of tornadoes. If a tornado hits California, something has gone disastrously wrong. Like, to the point where the warnings that he's issuing have no bearing on reality. If a tornado hits the mountainous, hilly, not flat land of California, yeah, we have bigger problems than who's running the state into the ground. Beware of tornadoes? Understand your own land topography, Governor. There was no significant hurricane damage. By the time it reached the state of California, it was downgraded to like tropical storm category 3 or 4. Like, not even really worth mentioning. People in the Midwest and in the South look at the amount of rain that California got in the emergency hurricane and say, that's hilarious. That's an average Tuesday here in Biloxi, Mississippi. My wife and I went to church in the morning with our 2-week-old daughter, which goes to show you how worrisome the inclement weather was here in the tornado-riddled Southern California.